I've been approached by a toy company for designing some sort of marble track toy, and so I'm basing the overall idea on these sloped blocks that the marbles can roll down on. So the blocks each have a slope to them, which makes the marbles roll down on them. But of course that means the end of the block is lower, so in order to roll into the next block, I need to elevate the block by a little bit. So I've got these spacers, and that way I can cascade things together, and if I put more spacers on top of each other. I used my rotor pantograph to carve out that fancy shape in the blocks. I have a master template that has grooves for all the slots that I can potentially cut in there. I don't always cut all the slots, but that way I only need one template. And then here's a ramp blank, and I've already got the majority of the middle hogged out with my slot mortising machine. So that fits into here, and then I can tighten that up by pounding this wedge in here, and now I'm ready to cut it. So there's a problem with these blocks, which is that the tracks have a tendency to unbuild themselves as the marbles keep bouncing against here. So what I've come up with is a set of interlocking pins where there's these divots on the bottom here, and then blocks like this. So rather than having just solid blocks, I can put an interlocking block in here, and that attaches with a pin here, and then with this pin here, and that prevents this from getting knocked out. So I'll show you how I did the holes and made these blocks next. I'm drilling 4 holes into the bottom of each piece, and I'm using my pantarotor. I made a template which has got 4 circular notches that the guide bearing fits nicely into. So next comes these blocks, and the height increment here is exactly what I need to go from one ramp to the next. To make sure these blocks would always fit on here with a little bit of slack, I had to make a custom sized dowel for these blocks. So having a good way of getting these marbles down, it'd be neat to have a automated way of getting those up there, and for that I've come up with a sort of a marble pump, and this is a simplified design over my earlier crank-based design. So I took this pump and a lot of these blocks to a local hacker gathering to let some really big kids play with them.
So where's your your robot actuator hand.
I need like this, in order for this to link, it would have to almost be up a little bit. You get so excited.
Yeah, it needs a bit more support.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Yeah, that makes sense.
From letting other people play with these blocks, I realized I had a bit of a problem because my basic height increment is this, it's 12 millimeters, and each ramp goes up by another 12 millimeters. And for instance, here is a riser block for rising 3 units, but people would sometimes place these on the side, but this being 32 millimeters to the side and these 12, it just doesn't work out. So the way to solve this is to make the basic height increment so that it's an even fraction of the 32 millimeters, or about 10.66 millimeters, and then I don't have this problem of getting uneven increments. Unfortunately, that requires making all new riser blocks, and worse yet, all new ramp blocks with a slightly different slope. So to fix this problem, I spent a whole day making a whole lot of new blocks, and here's my old set of blocks, and here's a new set of blocks. They don't even fit in the box because I made a lot more of them. And I also changed the blocks a little bit. I gave up on the side entry and side exit because it was just too hard to find the right kind of block. So the new blocks all have a straight exit and a straight entrance with various side entrances. And I played around. I used a slightly different template with curved slots in here. So all these notches have a slight curve to them to give the marble a little bit of kick downstream as they roll in the side. So enough about these ramps and blocks already. In my next video I'll have more details about this little gadget that I call a marble pump.